Hello everyone, welcome to Move Well, Live Well. We get a number of people that come in here with issues regarding their low back and their sacrum. So it's their low back and kind of in that tailbone area. And what we're finding with these folks is they're having a lot of pain, discomfort, and just a general tiredness, deep ache in the low back and tailbone area. I brought out Mr. Spine here. This is Mr. Spine. And you can kind of see right here with Mr. Spine, this is your pelvis down here. This is your pelvic bowl. This is the front view of your pelvis right here. And these are your lumbar vertebra this is the front view, anterior view. So this is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There's 5 lumbar vertebra. And in the side view here, this is the side view of your lumbar vertebra. Again, there's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You see this lumbar lordotic curve. There's this curve here that curves inward or curves towards the front. And you can kind of see the spinous process here in the back of the spine, and you see the pelvic bones right in through here, the iliums. Well, anyway, what we're finding with these folks is right here. This is L5. This is the spine. This is now the posterior view or the back view. And you see here, this is the sacrum. The coccyx is broken off on Mr. Spine here. It's no longer there. It hangs right here. But anyway, this is the sacrum, and this is L5 lumbar vertebra right here. This is the spinous process, and you can kind of see this joint. So this is the L5 right here. This is the L5 joint that meets with the sacrum right here. See that? L5S1 right there. So those joints, and what we're finding with these folks is as they're going about their day, let's face it, we sit way too much, and what happens, the sacrum gets pushed up like this. Gets kind of pushed up. See, you're sitting down like this. It gets kind of pushed up like this, and watch what the low back does. So the sacrum gets pushed up like this, and then they kind of look like they're in this. They look like they're kind of in this. Their low back goes into this anterior pelvic tilt like this. See that? Boom. Just like this. So the low back goes just like this. Just like that from sitting way too much, and they get pain and discomfort in the low back. So how do you fix that? How do you unjam L5S1 in through there? Unjam that. Well, you get the good old handy dandy Physioball. Like I said, in previous videos, I'm pretty lazy. So I like to use this Physioball in helping distract the lumbar vertebra so that way it stretches. So this is what you do. I'm gonna tilt this down just like this. Right here, just like this. So you get your Physioball right here. I'll put a link in the description of where to get one if you don't have one. But watch how great this ball is. So you start off on your knees right here. You kind of see I'm on my knees like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drape my low back and my body onto the ball like this. So my knees are still on the ground, just like this. My knees are still on the ground. And this provides a distraction of my lumbar vertebra. So instead of like hanging, now you've seen these inversion tables and that type of thing, instead of hanging from something, you can use the ball as a distraction device, a traction device. And then now I'm kind of pushing up on my toes, and now my knees are off the mat. See that? And I'm now getting great distraction in my low back. It's flattening out that low back, and I can really feel the distraction of my vertebra in through here, and it's just relaxing my back. So this is a great tool to use to provide self-traction for your low back at a really inexpensive cost. I think these go for about $15 to $30 depending where you're getting them. I'll put a link in the description for where to get one. But man, this is an awesome tool. Then what I usually recommend patients to do is to do some posterior pelvic tilts as they're on the Physioball. So here you are, My knees are slightly off the mat here. I'm kind of on my toes. And I'm kind of balancing myself with my arms here, like this. Here, I'll move a little bit over this way. You can kind of see. And I'm going to do, you want to hang out here for 3 to 5 minutes. Hang out here for 3 to 5 minutes. And within those 3 to 5 minutes, you're just going to do really slow and deliberate posterior pelvic tilts. So I don't know if you can see this because I'm wearing all black and I'm against a black background. And here we go, right here. Boom. So now I'm further flattening out the back even more. See that? You can see my back flatten out. So it's almost like I'm pushing into the Physioball. Now the Physioball becomes a resistive device. So it's like I'm doing a posterior pelvic tilt into the ball, and the ball is giving me resistance. So now this is kind of working out my abs, strengthening my abdominals as I do this. And I want to be deliberate as I do this. Be deliberate when you do these. So you're hanging out here in this distracted low back position, right? And then you go into a posterior pelvic tilt, just like that. Hold that for a couple seconds and relax. So over a period of 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to probably do, 15, 20, 30 reps in here. So and then I'll go into another one, just like that, nice and deliberate. Remember, this should be a relaxing exercise. This is not an exercise where you're trying to, go fast or anything like that. You want to be slow and deliberate through here. So the idea is to stretch and open up, distract the lumbar vertebrae through here because they're jammed up like we saw in Mr. Spine. We're distracting them, and then we further distract them by going into a posterior pelvic tilt and relax. So probably every 10 seconds or so, you do a posterior pelvic tilt. So you figure 3 to 5 minutes, every 10 seconds. You're doing about 6 reps for each minute. Yeah. Just like that. So here's Mr. Spine. Remember, Mr. Spine's all jammed up. Mr. Spine's all jammed up like this. So as you drape over the ball, you can see how it opens up. See, Mr. Spine's kind of jammed up like this. This is kind of, this is the back of the head over here. This is your sacrum, tailbone. It's jammed up like this, but by draping yourself over the ball like this, you can see how this gaps. Right there, just opens it up. It flattens out that low back a little bit, and it puts traction on the low back musculature. And then you go into posterior pelvic tilts here like this, and it further, see, it further gaps. Further gaps that L5-S1 joint that gets jammed up a lot from sitting too much. Boom. Posterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. So, great tool to use. After you're done with that, what we usually recommend folks, you don't have to have one of these. If you don't have one of these, another thing that you can do, here, the ball's all bouncing around everywhere. So if you don't have a Physioball, you can just do a cat pose, like in yoga. So what you do is you do a cat pose in yoga. So you're on all fours, like this. All fours like this, on your knees. And then you just go into a cat pose. See that? Cat pose like that. And then you hang out in here. And then you go into a posterior pelvic tilt as you're in a cat pose. Like that. It's very subtle because you're already kind of rounding your back already. And boom. Go into a posterior pelvic tilt. Relax a little bit. Posterior pelvic tilt. I don't know if you can see that. It's very subtle. Posterior pelvic tilt. Posterior pelvic tilt. So, side view what a posterior pelvic tilt looks like. This is my low back. I have this lumbar curve here in my low back. I'm going to accentuate a little bit so you can kind of see. So there you are. And a posterior pelvic tilt is flattening of the low back. See my pelvis? I can dip my pelvis forward and I can dip my pelvis backward. See that? Imagine your pelvis is a bucket. You can either tip it forward or tip it back. Tipping it back is the posterior pelvic tilt. This is an anterior pelvic tilt where we see most people hang out in all day. So they're in here and they're, see the gut's going, the back is in this extended position, and we're doing the opposite of that, going into a posterior pelvic tilt. So cat pose, and then cat pose here, and then posterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. Again, 3 to 5 minutes. I know that sounds like a long time. 3 to 5 minutes, every 10 seconds or so, you're gonna go into a posterior pelvic tilt. Get that back to relax, and man, that's gonna ease up that low back, sacrum pain. No more problems in the low back and sacrum. Anyway, if you have any questions with this video, drop it off in the comment section below. We thank you for watching, we appreciate it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, and when you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification button, because that'll keep you in the loop with subsequent videos coming here in the near future, and that way you can continue to move well, live well. Also, I know you know folks who are battling low back tailbone pain from sitting way too long. Share this with them. Sharing is caring. It's very hard to see, very difficult to watch our friends and family members suffer from this kind of issue. So share this with them. That way they can benefit from it and move well and live well also. Also, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. It lets us know you care. Anyway, we thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.